Hi, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to the Harley Carnes podcast, Harley on the Headlines. I am mighty glad you're there and that you're willing to help us reach out to more people. Like, subscribe, follow, send some emails around, share an episode. I appreciate you. Nope, you can't do that, Mr. President. Sorry, but that's what the Supreme Court says. You can't send federal troops to restore peace and law abiding to Chicago. Not if the governor and the mayor don't want troops there. The Constitution's actually pretty clear on that, which is why it's called the Illinois National Guard. A governor can deploy them in an emergency. The governor can also ask that the president acknowledge and parrot that emergency and send more guardsmen from anywhere. It is one of the few areas that still resides in a state's rights to govern. Now, the president can deploy federal troops in the case of a national emergency, but is crime on the streets of Chicago a national emergency? The Supreme Court seems to say no. The Supreme Court ruling only affects Illinois, but it is a very clear message. You are reaching too far, Mr. President, no matter how good your intentions may be. Now, what it means is, on the street, what it means is if people like and enjoy lawless streets in Chicago and other parts of Illinois, the voters should do nothing because that's what they got. If they want peaceful streets, if they secretly were kind of glad the president was taking the bull by the horns and deploying troops, they'll need to say so. Tell their elected officials either they want the troops or they want police to be given the support they need to do the job. They will. Cops want to do the job. All you need to do is back them up. If you don't, well, hey, you get what you get, and don't get upset if anarchy is next. A third tranche of documents from the Jeffrey Epstein trials at the Justice Department have been released to the public. Thousands and thousands and thousands of often inscrutable pages. It seems Donald Trump, long before he ran for anything political, we're talking about the 90s here, flew on Epstein's jet 8 times. In one flight, there was also a 20-year-old woman on board. Okay, my first reaction is, so what? She's a grown woman, and there's no indication if she was there for the Donald who was married then or not. Don't know who she was. You can almost see some of these reporters drool a little bit over that little tidbit of info, making a little wet spots on the desk. They think somehow it might hurt Trump, the president. Oh, goody. Come on. It's the same Trump who tossed Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago and told him don't come back when his shenanigans crossed Trump's line, whatever that is. Did Donald Trump decades ago party with Epstein and the dozens and dozens of highly successful people who surrounded him? Yep, seems so. Did Trump have limits on his behavior that were quite a bit more traditional than Epstein's? Yep, sure seems so. Look, and that's what Trump's enemies are doing with combs of fine teeth looking. His life has been pretty open, a very public story. He has always surrounded himself with beautiful women, has married some of them, and even if the marriage failed, has treated them very well after the breakups. Interesting that Bill Clinton availed himself of the Epstein world dozens of times. Photos abound to prove it, and the media all but ignores that. Maybe it's to be expected of Bill. Nobody cares. Yet they dig with the fever of a 49ers prospector at every brand new claim that might produce a negative nugget with the name Trump on it. Here's hoping the Ukraine war might soon end. Volodymyr Zelensky says a 20-point peace plan worked out in negotiations in Miami could do it. He says, without using these words, most of what Russia wants is in there. Vladimir Putin would get more land, including land his forces have not yet taken by force. Ukraine would not join NATO, though the economic and security guarantees are different in name only with the European Union. Ukraine will maintain its sovereignty, sign an agreement of non-aggression with Russia that is supposed to go both ways. There will be a means, not yet agreed to, that would be developed to monitor the border, and Ukraine's military would be limited to 800,000 troops. What we don't know, of course, is whether Putin will at last be satisfied, or will he tell the world's negotiators, you'll have to do better than that. The plan is very similar to the Trump plan, except that it goes even farther, giving Putin more of what he wants, though diplomats don't tend to speak it that bluntly. Putin is expected to get a copy to consider later today. There are a lot of people in South Korea who defected from North Korea. They've been there for a while, sometimes a few decades. And there's been a survey just released which measures their level of satisfaction in the South compared to their lives in the communist North. Short stroke, more than 81% say they are quite satisfied, glad to be out of there. If we want to know what a socialist, communist regime means for our own cities, thinking of New York's new mayor at the moment, it makes sense to pay attention to yet another population who have lived the ultimate expression of far-left government at the national level. The number one reason people who escaped communist rule give for being happy is they are able to live freely. Second reason, they can be paid fairly for their work. They do have some complaints. Competition is tough. Being away from families hurts, but that's about it. Cheese with high fat content, the good stuff, is good for your brain, apparently. It's probably the fat content, since so much of your brain depends on getting enough fat in the diet. The study says eating high-fat cheese every day is associated with lower risks of dementia. The more we know that we don't. Latest example, a human skull discovered in Ethiopia has upended our apple cart again. It's rewriting the human timeline, thrown a monkey wrench into evolution again. Anthropologists say it is the skull of a modern human with the face of a Homo erectus ape man. That's not supposed to happen. Too big a jump for simple evolution to explain it. There are also some advanced tools found at the same site where the fossils had brains supposedly too small to make or use them. Here's the thing. Did you know paleontologists have only 6 more or less complete skulls from 1.5 million years ago? They're all pretty different. And from those, they come up with theories we are asked to accept as storybook facts. The more we know we don't. Lastly, my favorite story of the day for sure. More evidence that dark chocolate is good for you. It's a new study. People who have theobromine in their blood, that's the compound in dark chocolate that makes it bitterish. Those people have more youth markers in their DNA. The researchers took into account the benefits of caffeine and other compounds, and they found theobromine has a unique and positive relationship on aging. It isn't proof, but it is a strong indicator that a little bit of dark chocolate, not milk chocolate or white chocolate, but dark chocolate, may help your cells actually live longer. And it's good for the brain. I don't even have to ask whether you are likely to have something delightful and chocolatey today. Dark chocolate, though. Please remember. I guess that'll do it for today's Harley on the Headlines. I thank you for watching on YouTube, for listening on Spotify or elsewhere. Please help spread the word, liking, following, subscribing, sharing, sending an episode or an email to your friends and followers. Hey, it all helps. Have an outstanding day. I'm Harley Carnes, and thank you. I really mean that. Thanks a lot.